This broadcast of In Focus is being made possible through the support of Reed Health. Reed Health, right beside you. And by Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan, with over 70 cars inside their massive showroom so you can shop in comfort. Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan, 5601 National Road East.
Hi, I'm Eric Marsh. Thanks for joining me on this week's edition of In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. Before we get into tonight's show, I want to let you know about next week's show. The first we'll have done in the studio in quite a while, and it'll be a special 90-minute episode that we will spend with Richmond Mayor Dave Snow. The entire 90 minutes will be spent asking him questions. Now, obviously, I'll have a long list because we haven't had a chance to sit down with him since January, but I'll also be happy to ask him your questions. So if you have a question you would like me to pose to the mayor, send it to me ahead of time. WCTV@iue.edu. Get it to me before 4 p.m. on Wednesday the 17th. Be happy to ask him your question. Again, next week's show, 90 minutes long, full 90 minutes we'll spend talking with Richmond Mayor Dave Snow. On tonight's show, we'll take you to the ceremony celebrating Centerville's Main Street designation. And we'll take you to the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the US 27, US 40 road improvement project. But we start with another happy occasion, the June 28th awarding of a GEMmy Award to the Levi and Catharine Coffin State Historic Site in Fountain City. Let's take a look at that event.
Demain and I are travel writers, and we are members of the Midwest Travel Journalists Association. We are very honored to be here today for something that we consider to be one of our paramount duties, to encourage a wide range of travelers to put the Levi and Catharine Coffin State Historic Site on their must-visit lists. That's because it's been on our must-visit again and again lists for years. It's been more than 25 years since I first visited, but I've never forgotten the hiding room, or the cellar well, or the wagon with its secret compartment. But most of all, I have never forgotten the commitment and courage of the Coffin family. When I wrap my head around their story and then realize I am in their story by being in the home where they walked and talked and welcomed strangers who were risking their lives for freedom, I am in awe. When I realized that the Coffins risked their own freedom, maybe even their own lives, over and over again to help these strangers, I am beyond awed. And now I'm able to experience even more through this wonderful new Interpretative Center. It adds layers of thought to the story by encouraging an understanding of not only the Coffins and their time, but also current culture. There are so many important character traits that come into play, many in direct opposition to one another. Right, wrong, courage, cowardice, perseverance, giving up, dependability, undependability, love, hate. Demain has captured the essence of this place very well. She calls the Coffin site a shrine to the nation's founding goal of securing the blessings of liberty. Our wish is that many others will come here and feel the awe we've felt and continue to feel. With that in mind, we are delighted to present this GEMmy to the Levi and Catharine Coffin State Historic Site. This is a definite gem in Indiana's crown of tourist experiences. I will tell you that this is among just 8 GEMmys okayed this spring by the MTJA Board of Directors. We are world travelers. One of those GEMmys is going to Spain. This is the only GEMmy to be presented in Indiana at this time. This is a big deal. Our hope is that MTJA and this award will encourage many to find you. Thank you for all that you were, all that you are, and all that you do for all of us. Thank you. And now, Joanna, we would love to have you accept this GEMmy from the Midwest Travel Journalists Association.
There you are.
Congratulations.
I agree, but she'll please.
They won't know.
Forward.
Tilt the ward.
Oh, tilt the word?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to sit
Well,
down.
thank you for having this for all of us.
Yeah.
I don't mean just today's presentation, the whole site.
Moments like this make me so excited that I get to be associated with this site and associated with its history and all the individuals that have been a part of it over the decades. And I feel as if Elizabeth really kind of wrapped up in her speech so much of what we try to invoke here at the site. And so I appreciate you bringing that out because I didn't have to do it. But what's great is that we hope that all of our visitors, that's what they walk away with, is that understanding. Just last night I was here till 6 o'clock with a couple from Virginia, and they were just amazed and just didn't want to leave. I wasn't going to force them out. Let's experience this. Let's enjoy this. So had amazing conversations. With the Interpretative Center coming on board, it really kind of ushered in a new phase for our site because now we have this ability to be even more accessible, not just to the residents of Wayne County, but really to all that come. With that, we have seen, I feel like numbers skyrocket because it just seems like so many people. We're averaging close to around 8,000 to 9,000 visitors per year. And so a big portion of that, and about 30 to 35% are school students. Of course, we feel that, I think we're pretty sure we draw in most of all the Wayne County area schools, so that teachers definitely make a point to include this as part of their curriculum, but now we're starting to see schools from Fort Wayne, from Ohio, from the Indianapolis area that are making a point to come and visit, and I know that that's really important to know that our stories are starting to reach beyond Wayne County. With regards to organizations like the MGTA and their writers coming and visiting with us, and the messages that they spread is bringing in people from all over the country. A couple weeks ago, I did a tour for a woman from Scotland. So this is a story that many people can connect with no matter where they're from. So we're very, very excited to be a part of that and to do that for them and to represent Wayne County, and especially the community of Fountain City and what this community did historically so many years ago. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Walker, who I know has some comments with Wayne County Tourism.
This is indeed a fabulous day, and we so appreciate, are humbled and honored for the GEMmy Award that you have so graciously bestowed on us. I wanted to personally take this minute and thank Elizabeth for nominating us, and Demaine and Amy, who could not be here today, for endorsing. This is absolutely, as you all know, is a jewel for Wayne County, for our state, and for our nation. This amazing historic site draws, as Joanna just said, national and international visitation. Just from some of the data that I had received from Joanna, we've had 42 states and over 9 countries that have been here in Fountain City, formerly Newport, to visit. And with the story, and you said it so eloquently, with Levi and Catharine Coffin and their their passion of and giftless, selfless gift of giving themselves and their home to those freedom seekers seeking freedom to the north. And to think, as I just echo your comments, Elizabeth, about being on this hallowed ground. And for those of you who may be here and have never watched the movie, I would encourage you to do that. It's an incredible 8 to 10 minute video that really captures the essence of Levi and Catharine Coffin and what they went through to really fulfill their passion at a lot of peril in their life. I would also, with regards to this destination, this is a huge national tourism destination. We are so blessed to have this in Wayne County and Fountain City. It is a huge draw in our economic impact that we do cooperatively with the state of Indiana. We have over $109.5 million of economic impact through visitor spending that is spent here in Wayne County. And this is absolutely one of the biggest draws that we have. The story, you can't make up these kinds of things. It's the true history. It's the hallowed ground. And we are so thankful for what they did in saving those persons looking for freedom. And it is just something that until you've been through the site and you hear the stories, and it's hard to imagine what they went through back in the 1800s. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank Kathy Free and her amazing staff and Joanna, because without your continued investment and the growth of this Interpretative Center, you keep adding to that story and making it more relevant and more prominent and more accessible to visitors. And so we thank you for that. I would also be very remiss if I didn't say something about Sandra Jackson and Janice McGuire, the quote-unquote Coffin sisters, who I have worked with for years and years and years, and who had this passion of creating a center like this and saving the building and for perpetuity. And for that, we will always be grateful to you, your sister, and all of those members and volunteers who gave themselves and are still giving themselves towards this wonderful project. And so we thank you. You are a delight. And you tell Janice that too, and we miss her not being here.
Well, we appreciate the support that you've given us through the years. It
Well.
means a lot.
Well, you know we're always here. So, I would also be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to recognize Nancy Sartain. She gets a little embarrassed, even though she works with lots and lots of media writers. But Nancy is our Bureau's leisure marketing manager, and without Nancy's love, passion, dedication, hard work, and heartfelt love of what she is doing in selling Wayne County, and specifically the Levi Coffin House and Interpretative Center, these things would not be a reality. People would not know. You built tremendous long-term relationships with Elizabeth, Demaine, Amy, and so many others. And I just want to say, from my perspective as the director, but also our board, that you are very valued, and we appreciate all of your hard work in what you do for making Wayne County known to the world. So thank you. And lastly, I would just like to take also a moment to thank Tom Saunders. Unfortunately, Tom, you already raised your hand earlier, but Tom and I have worked together for years and years. Tom is our representative for the State House, and he has been an ardent supporter of everything that we do. And I just want to say thank you to you for all of your love and support and passion in getting these things through, helping our state museum to have those dollars so that we can really prominently display and promote all of these wonderful sites throughout Indiana. Senator Jeff Rotz couldn't be here today, nor could Dr. Brad Barrett, our representative too, but they both send their heartfelt thanks and appreciation to the MTJA members, to you all for seeing this as we do as a gem of Wayne County. And so I also, and I'll put a little levity in this, also had just heard that it was someone's birthday today. So Tom, if you'd like to come up. We have a birthday cake for you and everyone here. And we have balloons too. And you know they're red, white, and blue.
All the good stuff. We're all going to eat this one.
Yes, yes. But we just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge your birthday. And again, thank you for all of your love and support that you give us.
You're welcome.
And thanks for being here
Thank
today.
you. May I say?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
yeah. Well, thank you. That's totally unacceptable.
Don't put that
You know, I come from a small town down the road, 400 and some people lived there my entire life on the National Road, which was the first interstate highway commissioned by President Jefferson. And when I lived on that road for 68 years today, I met Red Skelton on the street corner there. I met Roy Rogers, and in my day, those were big people. You know. Harry Truman went by at least twice a year on his way back to independence. I've always had a love of history, and last week I spoke at Shirley at the 25th anniversary of the Jane Ross Reeves Octagon home that the community moved. So, and I talked about the great saves and the people that were responsible for those. You know, sometimes it was just one person who's been responsible for saving these for future generations. And I talked about how John Rockefeller did it and how Henry Ford did it, and you know how Jackie Kennedy, the White House was saved under Harry Truman, but they were going to tear down Lafayette Square, and Jackie Kennedy was responsible for saving that. And then when she moved to New York, they were going to tear down Grand Central Station, and she read that in the newspaper. So it takes one person with the interest for those great saves, and we need to be endeavorably thankful to those people for that, because you didn't have the Rockefellers or the Fords or the Kennedys' money to do it. And sometimes you had to squeeze really hard to get the state's money to do it, and it took us a while. But this is a gem, not only for the state of Indiana, this community, and the nation. Something we're proud of, and something we should be indebted to you forever, Sandra. Because when I started over here, you and Janet were the ones that told me the story. And it's something we should all be proud of, and I'm glad to see. Sometimes we move slowly, but it happens. My wife and I were involved in a preservation project in Louisville, and it took us a while, but you can stand back and admire your future generations are going to see from the hard work that you put in. So we appreciate it. Thanks for the birthday cake.
Thank you all for coming. We have cake to celebrate. Again, Janice and Sandra really have done an incredible job of allowing us to be here today, and for a story that I think all of us know does need to be passed down generation to generation. And I know that Janice is with her grandchildren, so we know it will go on with your family and their family, and now it will go on with all the families that visit here. So again, thank you both. And with that, we have cake and cookies. So thank you all very much.
I am not a native Hoosier. I was born in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I grew up in northeastern Minnesota. And even now, although I've been in Indiana for more than 40 years, people know I'm not a Hoosier as soon as I start talking. I was working at a newspaper in Noblesville about 30 years ago, and someone suggested we start a travel page, and we thought, good idea. How do you start a travel page? So somebody in the office there connected me with the editor of the AAA magazine in Indianapolis, and he took me under my wing, and we created a travel page for the newspaper, and that was my start. And pretty soon he asked me to start writing for his magazine, and when I left the newspaper and went back to teaching in a public high school, I kept freelancing. And so it's been more than 25 years since I first came to the Levi Coffin house, and I've never forgotten the way it made me feel. Not just the story about what they did, but how I felt about what they did. And then when you think that you're walking in the same room they were in, climbing the same steps, seeing the same well, everything, oh my gosh, you are in their story when you come here. It's like, for a long time, every time I went to someplace new for a story, I thought, I think I could move here. And there are many places that are still kind of like that. At least I want to visit again. And so there are some that just never leave me, though. Sometimes people will say, well, what did you think about being in such and such a place? And I have to think about being in that place. If anybody mentions the Levi Coffin House, I don't have to think about it. I know right away how I felt. I think this is one of the still hidden gems in Indiana, actually in the nation. And I think that a lot more people need to find out about the story. And I think with this new Interpretative Center, there's an even greater depth to finding out about their story, because not only do we learn about what they did, we also know how it relates to today. And I think that that's one of the best things that this whole site does for visitors. You don't know what you're missing, and you don't know what your heart is missing if you've never been here. And you owe it to yourself to find out about the story and how the story has unfolded for so many people and how it stays with you forever.
The Interpretive Center has this role for our site as being kind of the first point of contact for our visitors. So it allows us to greet them, it allows us to do sort of those things that people expect at a historic site. But really what it does is it helps to serve as a small exhibit space too that helps us sort of introduce the story of Levi and Catharine. So even though people know that they have some role in the Underground Railroad, then what the Interpretive Center does is help to sort of set the stage to what they're going to witness and learn about when they go in the house. We get a range of reactions from people. First, I think probably the word we hear the most, especially from our young visitors, is how cool it is. They learn about the Underground Railroad starting around the 3rd and 4th grade, and the chance that they have a place to come in Indiana and actually see where it may have actually happened, where it did actually happen, is just a cool factor for them. For other adults, it can be a little more emotional. Sometimes we see people tear up a little bit with some of the stories that we tell, but it's really this moment of sort of an awe for them of thinking this really happened in Indiana, and this moment of feeling very proud that this is a very Indiana story. So we have people coming from a variety of areas. We get many who are from Indiana, obviously, but we're reaching somewhere on average of people who are from 40 or more states per year. So as far out as California, I just had a lady a couple days ago come from California. Yesterday we had folks from Virginia. A couple weeks ago I actually hosted a woman who was visiting Richmond, and she's actually from Scotland. So we've seen people come from Germany, from Japan, from England. So I think people are encouraged to come and visit here because of how unique the Underground Railroad is to our history, not just as a state, as a country, and they just want to learn more. And it's a good place to do that. The main goal, especially once we opened the Interpretive Center in 2016, was definitely to be more accessible. For a long time, there were periods where people were poking their head in the door saying, "Are you really open?" And yes, we were. So now we're open 6 days a week, we're open year-round, we're open most holidays. And so I think people are finally getting to the fact that they know they can come here, we're open, we're doing tours all the time, and it's just an amazing experience to be able to do.
Wayne County's rich cultural fabric and heritage is amazing in which to draw visitors. We have visitors that come from all over the nation, as I said earlier today, as well as countries. And the richness of our history is national in scope. So you have the Levi and Catharine Coffin State Historic Site, which Levi and Catharine, known as the conductors of the Underground Railroad, here in Fountain City, Indiana, in Wayne County. You have the Star Jeanette recording site, and the greats like Louis Armstrong, Big Spiderbeck, Jelly Roll Morton, and others that came. You have the National Road. You have so many nuances. You have the Richmond Art Museum. I mean, there are so many. I will get in trouble by mentioning all of these, but they are indeed very rich and authentic. The authenticity and the experience is what visitors want to see. They don't want the commercial tourism. They want the experiential tourism, and that's what we can offer to visitors that come out from all over. And as I said, our economic impact is, the last report was $109.5 million of visitor spending in Wayne County, and that means that a lot of people are visiting, they're coming to see our sites, and they're coming to experience all the great things that we have to offer.
Congratulations to everyone involved with the Levi and Catharine Coffin House site. For information on this and other historic sites around Indiana, visit indianamuseum.org. A number of residents and business leaders in Centerville decided that they needed a Main Street designation, so they started a 501c3, applied, and they got that designation. On June 26th, there was a ceremony which was attended by Indiana Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch. Here's that ceremony.
All right, good afternoon. It is a great day to be in the beautiful community of Centerville, Indiana. I'm Kyle Turner. I'm the president of Main Street Centerville. Thank you for joining us on this special designation ceremony and celebration. The idea of Main Street Centerville began more than a year ago with a group of citizens and business leaders. Since then, there have been countless volunteer hours by these individuals taking an idea of what could be, creating action steps, and working together to see it through to fruition. This is the beginning of what collaboration looks like. Soon we will begin seeing projects and festivities pop up around town because of the groundwork that has been laid. If you serve on the Main Street Centerville Board or Committee, could you please stand? We'll have a round of applause for these individuals. I would put our board against any other board that I have the opportunity to serve on. They are smart, they are doers, and they are active, and that's all you can ask for. So thank you to our board. It's a fantastic group of people. We have a number of elected officials with us as well, but I would like to specifically recognize the Centerville Town Council members, Dan Wandersee, Jack Boddicker, Mark Tucker, Gary Holbert, and James Bullen. Thank you, guys. State Senator Rotz, thank you. Is Representative Barrett here wandering around? He's with us in spirit. Our county commissioners, Ken Pouse, Denny Burns, and Mary Ann Butters. So Main Street is a concept that incorporates public officials and community volunteers, bringing both groups to the table to address issues of economic development, communication, beautification, and quality of life. Cities and towns across the country have seen tremendous change. In Indiana, the Office of Community and Rural Affairs, under the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, works with Main Streets, forging our path. It is my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch.
Good afternoon. Let me see. Good afternoon. All right. I can't tell you how exciting it is to be here. Thank you for that introduction, Kyle, and thank you for the invitation to be with you today. You should be extremely proud of yourselves. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of collaboration among community partners to be able to obtain or attain that Main Street designation. Indiana has more Main Street organizations than any other state in the country. And you are number 315. So congratulations to you. What an accomplishment. It's always so good to see my good friend Senator Rotz here and be able to spend some time with him outside of the Senate chamber. And I always like to tell people the story. I'm a former state representative. And so now, as Lieutenant Governor, constitutionally, I'm president of the Senate. So when the Senate's in session, I'm at a podium like this, and I'm running the Senate. So I can only share with you that as a former state representative for 8 years, it is so gratifying to finally be in charge of the senators. And I still remember everyone that voted against my bills, too. But seriously, you know, rural communities are the heartland of our great state, and they serve as a constant reminder of our rich blessings. We're more than farm fields and small towns. Our rural Hoosier communities are the heartbeat of a growing and thriving economy. And the heartbeat of each community is its downtown. The district impact, or the direct impact of downtown revitalization is well documented. We know that revitalization increases property values, it also creates jobs, and it brings tourists to our downtown areas. Simply put, revitalization of our downtowns is economic development. So, what makes a particular community stand out among all other communities when companies are looking to grow their businesses or looking to locate somewhere? What is it that really makes a community stand out? Well, I would say it is character. And Centerville has that character. You've demonstrated it by becoming a Main Street organization. But more importantly, you've demonstrated it by coming together as a community and working to showcase the best that you have to offer. And it's so exciting to hear about all the projects that you have undertaken. The 16 new flower urns that are all over the city. And you created a drone video, which was then included in your Main Street application. That is so incredible. And I will tell you, I was at Purdue University yesterday at their Corn and Soybean Center of Innovation, watching a drone display and seeing all the benefits that it provides. So I hope you continue to use that drone to be able to promote and to sell your assets here in Centerville. You know, here in Indiana, we understand that our future is being built today. And it's being built by communities like Centerville all over Indiana. You all are shining examples of the best that Indiana has to offer. And Jody Golden and her team at Okra have dedicated all of the 2018 funding resources to creating quality of place individuals and communities here throughout our state. So thank you for taking the effort, taking the initiative, coming together to make Centerville Indiana's newest Main Street organization. Congratulations to you. And now I'd like to invite Kyle and the board to come up, and we have got a little certificate for you.
Come on up, guys.
On behalf of the governor and myself And as a result of the work that you have done, here, let's move over so you aren't standing on the step there. You know, we congratulate the Main Street Centerville Incorporated for their designation as an Indiana Main Street. And Indiana Main Street encourages community-driven revitalization of downtown areas in Indiana cities and towns. The Indiana Main Street Network comprises of passionate advocates, dedicated volunteers, influential stakeholders, and community organizers who work every day catalyzing reinvestment, creating jobs, and fostering pride of place. So congratulations, Kyle, to you and to your board on a job well done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, if you're on a tight schedule, you have a couple minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right, good.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
so glad.
Thank you. Well, first of all, you're going to have to find some help to pick up this big thing. This is Compliments of Main Street, put together by our friends at Warm Glow Candle Company in Centerville. Thank you. Thank you. What we'll do, we'll have some remarks from Town Board President Dan Wandersee. Jackie Carberry will say a few things, and I'll wrap it up. And then we'll begin with some music. The band will play us off, the marching band. Then the 78s will start. We've got food, we've got ice cream, we've got adult beverages. It should be quite an evening. Mr. Wandersee. She's going to be able to stay. Yeah, she's staying.
Well, it's a good day in the town of Centerville. Indiana Main Street has been a focal point for communities since the conception of cities and towns. The town's image and heritage are built from your Centerville downtown. A few years ago, the town of Centerville did a downtown revitalization plan. At that time, we knew that we needed a Main Street organization. Today, we have the Main Street organization. Centerville Town Council looks forward to working with the Centerville Main Street organization, not only to implement a short-term and long-term economic growth, but also to promote our existing business and culture new ones. Centerville Main Street Group has shown a willingness and a desire to work together for the betterment and the quality of life here in Centerville. They've already reached out and helped several of our local groups, such as the Veterans Group, Archway Days Group, and they've been a conduit for all of them. The Centerville Town Council would like to congratulate all those who put their time and effort into forming the Centerville Main Street organization. Thank you.
I'd like to say I'm not entirely sure how I got up here, but I did get up here because I missed a meeting, so don't miss meetings. But anyway, I'm very honored to be here. So I am Jackie Carberry, and I'm with Warm Glow Candle Company. I am incredibly proud to own and operate a small company here in Centerville, Indiana. There's many, many times that I have to travel, and I have to travel to a lot of big cities, and husband can tell you that I'm always just so blessed and glad to be home, to be here, where there's people that say hi to me when I walk down the street. But what we would like to do is enhance this wonderfully great town that we already have, and by that we want to make our main streets updated and beautiful. And if you haven't had a chance, I encourage you please to look at some of these pictures that are around. These pictures are what other main streets have been blessed to accomplish, and we can do all that too. We can do that, and we can do more, because we're strong and we're great and we love our community. So what I would like to lay out there is before too long, we're going to be putting together ideas of a future for our community and where we would like to go. And that takes everyone, that takes all of us, and we really, on our Main Street board, want your input, need your input and your guidance and what you would like to see and how we can make this wonderful community that we live and love in a whole lot better. So that is kind of my challenge to y'all. Please, please, please get involved. Contact any of us and help us grow this wonderful community that we love. Thank you.
I forgot how hard it was to talk after Jackie. She's a firecracker, so I sound like a funeral director up here now. All right, one of our very first projects is here today. We've commissioned a kiosk through one of the Whitewater Career Centers led by Phil Bettle in Connersville, Indiana. If you look right out here, you'll see our little sign that says Centerville Community Fest. That project was funded through a generous grant from the Wayne County Foundation. Could we give the Wayne County Foundation a round of applause? So that will have some lights in it at night. It'll light up, and our initial thought is that will be placed at the library where the most folks come in and out. The library is going to be undergoing some renovations, so we kind of have to wait for that to play its course. But the vocational students did a fantastic job, and that's just a start. We're going to do some really neat things. Hopefully you kind of get an understanding now of the direction of what Main Street Centerville is all about and why it's important to have buy-in across the community. If you'd like to learn more or find out how you can get involved, please speak with a board member or call me at Turner Insurance. We'd love to grow this grassroots effort into something tremendous, not for our personal gain, but for all of us and for all of our generations to come. So before we dismiss, we need to take a moment to thank our sponsors today, our title sponsor and such a proud supporter of all the communities in Wayne County, First Bank Richmond. Thank you very much, First Bank. Our gold sponsor, Dr. Marty Hanneman here in town, DDS, thank you very much for your support. The law office of Ed Martin, thank you, Ed, for your support. Turner Insurance, those guys are pretty cool too. Thanks, Turner Insurance. Heartland Pet Food, the new Blue Buffalo, thank you very much for your support. Warm Glow Candle Company, Jackie and Alan, thank you very much. The Centerville Christian Church, thank you very much to the church for everything you do. Of course, the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce, thank you very much, guys. Wheeler's Antiques, where are the Wheelers? Where are they hiding? There they are, I see them. Thank you, guys. And Americana Pizza, thank you very so much for your support. Now, it's time for the fun to begin. We have food trucks, vendors, Just Smokin', Mom Pop Kettle, Uller's Ice Cream. But for you, special Lieutenant Governor, the Centerville High School Marching Band. Have a good night. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you all for coming. Please enjoy.
You can keep up with what's happening with Centerville's Main Street by going to their website, mainstreetcenterville.org. Finally tonight, the road construction fatigue that many of us were feeling has been relieved somewhat by the completion of most of the major road construction. No, I'm not blind. There are still some streets and sidewalks torn up, but a lot of the improvements are complete. And on Wednesday, July 10th, there was a ribbon cutting to bring an official end, at least to the US 40, US 27 section of that work. Here's what that event looked and sounded like.
Well, I want to introduce our NDOT Commissioner, Joe McGinnis. He's going to kick things off for us. But first of all, I wanted to thank the Model T Museum for hosting us and helping us out. We're very excited to open the road, and I know all of you are too. So, Joe.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to echo Mallory's comments there. So thank you to the Model T Museum for hosting us here today. And to Mayor, which I'll introduce here momentarily, thank you for allowing NDOT to come into your community. I know it was a longer and probably at sometimes very frustrating project for many of your residents and business owners, but we do appreciate your patience. And to the folks here from Richmond, we do appreciate your patience in this as well. Obviously, the project is open. The road is open today. As a matter of fact, I missed the turn coming in, so I got to take a whole lap around. Pretty cool. I got to see it all. So, this project kicked off back in 2017, which I was actually in this role in 2017. So this is one of the few projects that I've been able to cut the ribbon on that also actually started while I was in this role. So, $24 million project, as I said, started in 2017. And Great X, thank you to our prime contractor on this project for delivering this. One of the really cool pieces about this, the part that's up there on 40, it's the first time in Indiana that we have actually used the concrete panels, that we've been able to use that application. And so you all here in Richmond are guinea pigs, and we're looking for other applications around the state, but right here in Richmond is the first application that we've ever used here in the state of Indiana. So we're really excited to see, hopefully it performs well. We think it will, and looking forward to the benefits from the concrete panels for the first time in the state of Indiana. A couple of the big key pieces for me are obviously mobility is a big piece of what we do. But the other one for me, and I was just talking about this yesterday with a group, is safety, and making sure that our traveling public are as safe as possible. Of course, we want to get you from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but we want to make sure you get there all in one piece. And so the couple of the safety measures here is the realignment on US 27 and the split going southbound, and then widening the US 227-27 intersection to improve the turning radius. And we think those safety improvements will help benefit the motoring public in the long term. So we looking forward to the benefits of that as well. But it's not just this project here in Richmond. We actually have a few things going on with you, Mayor, and the folks here in Richmond, and we're proud of. One is your stellar community, so congratulations on that. I was a mayor once. I applied 2 or 3 different times, didn't even get a sniff at it. So your involvement there with working with all of the state agencies involved with Stellar, congratulations on that. But we're working to redesign North 7th Street, South and North 10th Street, and sections of East Main Street. And also be your first dedicated bike and pedestrian path. So really cool projects, really excited to continue to work with you. In addition to Community Crossings, one of my favorite grant programs that we put out there every year. It's really cool. Matter of fact, we have the call for projects is open right now, and we have some projects working with you at the moment. And so continued collaboration between the state, NDOT, and Richmond is very important to us, and we thank you for hosting us. Thank you for allowing us to come in and tear up your town a little bit, but we think the end product will be spectacular for your community going forward. Without further ado, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Dave Snow.
He'll forever be Mayor Joe to me, so that's how I'm always going to think of Mr. McGinnis, and I appreciate your comments. This has been a long project, and it's turned out beautifully. We are thrilled to have this project, and I want to thank the Model T Museum and our beautiful historic depot district for hosting today, and thank you all for being here. It has been a long and arduous process, and I'll echo Commissioner McGinnis's comments there that, of course, the community was under some construction fatigue, but the end result has made it worth it to see how this looks now. We were fortunate a few weeks ago to host the Indiana Conference of Mayors and to bring all the mayors here to Richmond and take them out to that project to see the panels. And they all found it fascinating. Several of them wanted to walk down there and touch it and feel it, and said, this is really tremendous. This is going to be a very good long-term project for this road, the way that it's going to hold up and the way that we're able to access utilities under the road through the panel access. And so it's a much more financially viable project, and I'm really thrilled that Richmond is on the cutting edge of this new type of road. So Yes, there are more projects in the pipeline, and I just continue the state's commitment to Richmond through community crossings, through the initiatives through the Lieutenant Governor's Office, through QUIP grants, through OCRA. There's just so many partnerships that we have established that we continue to work through that are very advantageous for the city of Richmond, and we appreciate that partnership and everything that Governor Holcomb's office is doing. So thank you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for this wonderful project.
It's an application that I know that NDOT, which predates me in this, has been looking for an opportunity to use, and this situation posed a really good opportunity for us. So we want to give it an opportunity and give it a chance. And working with the mayor, the mayor's office, and the folks here in the city, we're receptive to it. One of the big benefits to it all is obviously for maintenance for us becomes a little bit easier, but then also for maintenance for the city, for utilities, whether that's sewer or stormwater, whatever that may be, provides a little bit easier opportunity for them to access that as opposed to just ripping out the entire road because you have to do you had a water main issue or whatever. You just remove individual panels, we replace them, and you can pick up, move on, and do your work, and then move on with it. So this is the very first application in the state that we've utilized this, and so we'll be monitoring it obviously on a close basis just because it is new. Seems to be holding up, although it is new. It's holding up well, but we're still looking for other opportunities around the state. And here in Richmond, we're kind of in the middle, east central part of the state. Obviously, we want to see how it works maybe in northern Indiana, where the climate is a little bit different, in southern Indiana, where the sub base is a little bit different, and try the opportunities around the state of Indiana. Maybe eventually we get to the point where we can do it on the interstate, which obviously there's no utilities underneath there, but for maintenance purposes, when we get to the point of potholes in the middle of January and February, instead of just patching, maybe there's an opportunity there to replace. It is still so fresh and so new that I think everybody is comfortable the way that it went in this first application, and we'll just see as time and as weather has its impact on the new road, what that means for us. So concrete typically has a little bit longer lifespan. It takes longer for the application to go in general. So if we're concreting a typical street or a road, it is going to take longer. It takes a lot longer for it to set up as opposed to asphalt. Asphalt we can pave, and you're driving on it very soon. Concrete obviously takes a lot longer for it to set up. The panels where you have the precast panels, you can slide them in, and then you're on live traffic a lot quicker. So that is obviously a major benefit to the application. I think a key element in any community, not just Richmond, but anywhere you go, probably not just in Indiana, the Midwest, and probably the entire country, is what people are looking for when they're moving to a community is that quality of place. And one of the key components of all that is pedestrian and bicycle access. And so the wider that we can provide those opportunities for people, I've seen many bike paths where it's tough if you have people going in opposite directions for them to pass each other. And if you have someone pushing a stroller or walking a dog, that obviously has another impediment that has to be overcome. And so with a little bit wider paths, you get a little freer flow when it comes to bicycles, dogs, strollers, wagons, those kind of things as people are using them. So obviously, it started back in 2017, $24 million project. One of the first ones to come out of the Next Level Roads program that Governor Holcomb announced back in mid-2017. So we're very proud that this is now completed, and we got to do the ceremonial ribbon cutting today on that project. As you can see, traffic seems to be flowing quite well today as we're sitting out here in a lot of traffic. I've had the opportunity to tour it in a Model T, which was really cool for me to do, and to tour the entire project and see it. So I think this provides a little bit more safe. I spoke earlier about one of the key components for me in any project and NDOT is safety for the motoring public, and for the pedestrians to that point, to that extent, but also for the motoring public. And this provides that additional split here, and it provides a little bit more of safe passage for those that are in their vehicles. Yeah, so we work with the city of Richmond right now. They were awarded a Stellar Communities grant, that's a big deal to receive for a community. And so working with them right now they are their roads. We do have dollars in the mix here, and working with them closely on what is that eventually going to look like. I think it's probably too early for me to say what that is. I know there's going to be a lot of collaboration with the mayor's office, his folks, the design engineers, our folks, on what the final product will end up looking like. But it's a stellar community program, and I'm sure the collaboration with NDOT and OCRA and ICDA and all the folks that are involved, DNR and the city, I'm sure it'll be a good project.
Thanks to everybody who let us come in and record during all of the celebrations and designations, and we'll continue to work to keep you up to date with what's happening around Wayne County. Some things that I want to remind you about. First of all, once again, next week's show will be live in the studio beginning at 6 p.m. It will be a 90-minute conversation with Richmond's Mayor Dave Snow. Feel free to send us your questions, wctv@iue.edu. Try to get us those questions before 4 p.m. on Wednesday the 17th. Some of the other things happening around the community. Wayne County weekend. This weekend, Cambridge City. There's a lot going on between 9 and 1 at the mini park at the corner of Foot and Main Street. There's an artesian fair from 12 to 4 on the sidewalks, historic downtown with vintage cars, and you can stop by the newly opened King's Cafe. There's a Stuff the Bus taking place this Saturday from 10 till 1 at the Richmond Walmart. Feel free to drop off school supplies. Believe it or not, school's opening in less than a month. The Veterans Writing Workshop of Richmond has happened each Saturday at the second Saturday of every month from 2:30 to 4 p.m. at the Dwyer Community Center, 1417 North A Street. If you need more information, there's an email on the screen. Habitat for Humanity is having a free event on Saturday, the 13th. That's happening at the 10th Street Park. That takes place between 11 and 2. Kids, free food, live music, lots to talk about. So go on out and check out what's happening with Habitat for Humanity. The 12th annual Hagerstown Fly-In is taking place on Tuesday. That's a free event happening between 2 and 9. Lots going on there, so head over to Hagerstown. And the Opportunity Fair is going to be taking place at Reed Health Lingle Hall between 2 and 6. Lots of opportunities for you to find out information about jobs that are taking place. And finally, don't forget that through August 2nd, free summer meals for anyone 18 years and under are taking place. It's the Richmond Community Schools food truck. The locations are there on the screen: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Glen Miller Playground, Clear Creek Park, Lions Park West, 10th Street Park. It's all over. So if you're in need of a meal or know someone who is, check that out. Thanks for watching this week's In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We'll see you next Thursday night at 6 p.m.
This broadcast of In Focus is being made possible through the support of Reed Health. Reed Health, right beside you. And by Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan, with over 70 cars inside their massive showroom so you can shop in comfort. Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan, 5601 National Road East.